Patreon.com/the Walk-Off Podcast. $4 a month gets you in there.
We won't spend too much time on this, but I did want to bring up the television ratings for the Toronto Blue Jays spring training games, which are averaging well over 400,000 viewers per game, which I hope you folks know how absolutely insane those numbers are. To put it in perspective, the hockey trade deadline, right? They always make a huge deal out of this. And between TSN and Sportsnet, they are under 400,000 viewers for the trade deadline of the NHL in Canada.
That's
right?
Crazy.
There is some Blue Jays love bubbling within this country. And I mean,
Bubble
you
wand.
always hear, that's right, the bubble one. You always hear one team, one nation, right? And Blue Jays, for whatever reason, have just, because of the history and because of the marketing, have managed to be Canada's team. You know, hockey's so divided. It would be a cold day in hell I'd ever cheer for the Edmonton Oilers. I live in Alberta, right? Like, there's just rivalries that doesn't happen. When Vancouver went to the Stanley Cup Finals in 2010, buddy, I was rooting for Boston so hard. You just don't cheer for the Canucks if you're a Flames or an Oiler fan. Like, there's just rules, right? Like, you're a Habs fan.
Yeah.
Even if the Leafs, like, it would never happen.
Zero chance.
But the Toronto Blue Jays have managed to kind of break through those regional rivalries.
So, first of all, I was blown away by these numbers. I mean, even just hearing 400,000 doesn't sound like much. Right? It's like not even 1 million people tuning in across the country. But then because you sent me this Twitter thread, I can't think of who the tweet was from.
Yeah.
But when you put in perspective that there's more people tuning in to these Blue Jays spring training games than the Dodgers or the Yankees were averaging.
Yeah.
All like it across the full season of last year. And it's like, it's kind of mind blowing that like the Yankees fans, there isn't even 300,000 Yankees fans watching the game on TV. That like was the craziest thing.
We're a mega market, man. Like, this is a massive, massive market, and it's making sense seeing Rogers dump the kind of money into this team that they're dumping in. I know there's still a portion of the fan base that is just like, they're never happy with the amount of money put in. But let's face it, man, they are well over the luxury tax threshold currently. They are paying the taxes on this. I mean, they haven't hit the second level, but only a couple teams have, right? So the Blue Jays have put themselves into the top 20% spenders in the league. What more can you want? You're seeing the return on that investment in the viewership.
So we touched on this on Long Toss, the pitch clock, and we're going to talk rule changes and evaluate those coming up. So I don't want to spend too much time on this, but the idea that baseball games are second screen situations at best, other than playoffs. And I believe that applies to all sports, right? Any hockey game I have on, it's in the background while I'm cooking, while I'm doing homework, while I'm doing stuff. So with these numbers of like the Yankees, right? There's 10 million people in New York, and they can't get 500,000 people to tune in to a baseball game on TV. Of course, that is across all 162, right? Who's watching Yankees versus Red Sox? Those numbers are probably several million.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas when they're playing the A's on a Monday, I don't really need to watch that. Or maybe zero watch it, right? So this, I guess, kind of for me gets back to that like baseball problem of how do you get people to care about the game? Like it's enough to just see the highlights the next day. It's enough to just check the scores online. I don't know.
I think this is a natural transition into talking about the rule changes. And I say we just do it. We'll talk Brandon Belt after. Yeah.
Okay.
I got a text from a buddy that I just want to read here because we were talking about the pitch clock. And he was like, I love it. I absolutely love it. And then he wrote, It literally changed it where baseball is something I would put on and kind of do my chores to now I feel like I have to focus on the game. I don't want to miss anything.
No, that's a fake message.
Buddy, I will send you the screenshot. I will send you the screenshot. That is a real message from my buddy, Jason Cooper in Toronto. He's a baseball fan, but was always sort of like on the casual side of things. But that's literally exactly what Major League Baseball was attempting to do.
I don't know if I buy it. That's crazy, Scott. Isn't it?
Elaborate. What do you mean it's crazy?
The pitch clock has made such a big difference in the pace of play that all of a sudden now we're watching basketball games. It's just nonstop action. Don't want to miss anything.
I don't think that's what he was getting at. He just was comparing how much quicker the game is in comparison to what it was last year. Yeah, have you not felt it's substantially a faster pace?
Okay, yeah, but I've never gone to my phone in the middle of a baseball game because I had thought, oh, Dolis is going to take 42 seconds to pitch, so I have time to quickly send off an email. It's just been like, generally, even if there's rapid fire pitches and it's one every 7 seconds, I'm like, there's probably not going to be a hit on any of these pitches. Probably going to be a strikeout or a walk. If there is a hit, I'll look up. I'll hear it. I'll hear Buck going, and there's the crack of the bat. And I'll look up and be like, oh, sweet. Nice defensive play by Matt Chapman at third base. Wonderful.
Okay, well, I feel like there's a spectrum here, buddy. Like,
oh, I'm on the spectrum.
Obviously, not what I was saying.
Okay.
I just mean when it comes to attention span, obviously you can be less engaged or slightly more engaged or very engaged, right? It's not a black and white thing. I think that's all he was saying, is that obviously with a higher pace of play, it's going to keep your attention a little longer before you're like, I need to send this email, right?
Where do you fall on this spectrum? Are you like, it seems like you're a huge fan of the pitch clock and this is revolutionary.
I mean, buddy, I'm a hardcore baseball fan. I really didn't care either way. I would watch baseball if they slowed the pace of play. But I know that I am the exception to the rule. And so to see people that wouldn't normally be engaged in baseball in early March texting me to say, you know what, this is pretty great. I know it's one person, all right?
It's
so the
better
sample
than
sizes, but
yes.
Man, it's, I don't know. You're kind of poo-pooing on this more than I thought you would.
I don't know. I guess like the TV numbers have really kind of like made me reevaluate the fact that, or remember the fact that like baseball, just in terms of season length, and I know I'm going to get pooped on for this, but like 162 games, other than historical comparisons, if that means anything to you, scale it how you will. Of course it does, and it should, right? But there's reasons why it shouldn't matter. We don't have to get into those today. 162 games, too many games. It's too many games. I think for me, that would, if you told me there's going to be a pitch every 5 seconds, we're doing like a split multiverse situation here. Okay. There's one scenario in which we have 162 games, but there's a pitch every 4.5 seconds. Right. Or there's going to be 16 games in the regular season.
Right.
But there's going to be a pitch.
Universe. That's the universe with a black Spider-Man.
Exactly. So Miles Morales is in this multiverse. There's a pitch. There's 16 games, but there's a pitch every 2 minutes. Yeah. I'm way more likely to watch the full 6-hour game that this 2-minute pitch is going to take if there's 16 and every game matters versus the one where it's like,
that's That's
I
the thing with
know.
football fans. They love give me all of the stress in a short time. And I'm like, let's dole the stress out over a long period of time.
It's just the 162 breeds apathy where you go, okay, April, we're off to a hot start. Doesn't matter because May is going to wreck our season.
But I love the game of attrition. I love that it's like, yeah, does this game matter? Probably not. Let's move on, baby.
Right, but that's where 300,000 people tune into a Yankees game on average. Is because of that. Is because of like this series against the Oakland doesn't matter. We'll see how many home runs Aaron Judge hit. I can look that up on Google. We're probably going to win 2 out of 3. If we win 1 out of 3, we'll make it up against the Marlins next week. It all kind of shakes out in the watch. That is the bigger problem with baseball. And I know people are going to just unsubscribe to this over my sentiment. How can you guys even be baseball covers? Well,
I mean, we've talked about
do I have to give back my Blue Jays fan card right now? Is that what I have to do?
We've talked about this since we started this podcast, and both you and I have disagreed greatly on this. Should the season be short?
Give me 16 regular season games and 16 rounds of playoffs. That's what you're insane. One regular season game for every playoff team. That's what I want.
Okay, so let's count this as our pitch clock talk.
All right.
Let's talk no shift. One thing about the no shift that I've noticed, it is making way less of a difference than I originally anticipated. I mean, there's still some major shifting going on within the rules, right? You've got the triangle behind second base. You got to have your feet on the dirt, but you're still seeing third and short like shift right over. You're still seeing the fielder shifting. It's just not to the extreme level it was last year. So I was prepared to hate the no shift because I really felt like as a hitter, if you can't adjust, I know baseball, hitting a ball is the hardest thing in the world. I just feel like if they're going to give you the left side of the infield and all you got to do is drop it down, you should be able to make them adjust and do it a few times so that they're at least pitching to you. But anyways, that's irrelevant. So I was all prepared to hate this. I'm completely indifferent. I don't know if it's changed anything other than maybe some left-handed hitters are going to get a few more hits. I don't think it's going to be as extreme as everyone was making it out to be. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't want to read too much into it during spring training. Until we have the regulars, the guys that are playing 150 games a year, and the analytics starts to like, this might even be a thing that it takes a full season to just see what the new numbers are under these new rules, and then the adjustment happens, right? I don't know. I kind of throw my hands up in the air. Like I wasn't prepared to hate or dis-hate it. Like, that's the word I'm looking for. Dis-hate. A lot of dis-hatred in my heart. Love in my heart for the new rule changes. Yeah, I guess apathy is the word of the day that I'm bringing to the table.
Yeah.
It's just kind of we'll see. Like, again, over 162 games, we'll see what the numbers are. If Joey Gallo's batting average is above 200, then I guess it worked, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know with the bigger bases, we have seen a little bit more action on the base path. I think that teams are going to work out what works best for them. I've seen a little bit more.
Okay, but is it also just spring training?
How do I answer that? I don't know. Time will tell.
I know. I mean, like, are base stealing numbers up relative to spring training last year? I don't know. Is that something that's even anybody tracks? Is there a baseball nerd out there that tracks spring training base stealing rates? I hope there is. I'm sure there is.
It's so funny because for this topic, I was like, well, it'll be fun to see what Adam and I think of the new rules that are basically, we're like, who knows?
Who knows? Who cares?
It's a weekend. Like, yeah.
Look, let's just say hypothetically, because I don't have the numbers in front of me and I don't even know where to begin to look. Let's just say, base stealing rates have skyrocketed this season. I still think that's a lot of just like Whit Merrifield and Espinal and whoever are trying these new bases out, right? And they're like, let's just steal every chance we get, see if it makes a difference. Doesn't matter. I'll just go for it. Let's just see what the pickoff limitations are. Let's see if it does matter. So even if the rates
they're
are
testing
up,
the waters, right? Like they are testing the waters. They're seeing how it works. Yeah.
So again, and it's early in the spring training, but let's just say by the end of spring training, stolen base attempts are up 85%, way more stealing compared to last year. It might come right back down to the average come regular season time.
That's a really good point. That right now, I think we are seeing an extreme amount of steal attempts. And I think a lot of it has to do with just like you said, right? Guys are testing the waters, man. They're seeing how it feels. They're seeing how much of a difference those bigger bases make, that extra few inches. I think that one thing that I was really kind of not expecting with the pickoff attempts and the pitch clock is the pitchers are really using it to their advantage too, right? Like they're really able to hold these guys on a little longer, waiting for the pitch clock to go down. And that was one thing. I didn't expect it to affect the hitters and the base runners as much. I really thought that this was more going to be a learning curve for the pitchers. And as you watch the games, you're like, oh shit, no, this is something everyone has to become acclimated with, right? Acclimated with. So yeah. We'll see where it goes come regular season, but we are seeing some pretty wild stuff on the base paths, and I think that obviously that'll be reined in come the regular season. But so far, I honestly have nothing negative to say about the rule changes, other than it is different. It has changed the game, the pace of play. I know I was reading just this morning that on average, baseball games so far in this first week are 21 minutes shorter than they were last year at this time, which is substantial.
No, it is. 21 minutes is good. It's a step in the right direction. Now they just got to shave 21 games off the regular season and we're all set. All right.
Agree to disagree. We'll move on.